Hey, Casper from Colorado here, and we are in Casper's back seat, and I am so excited to have John Andrews. He is the former Colorado Senate President and the founder of the Western Conservative Summit. Welcome, John, to my back seat.
Well, I'm glad to be in your back seat, and it's good to have you in the driver's seat. We got to put you in the driver's seat for Colorado's first congressional district to represent Denver a little better, Casper.
We're going to work on that. What I wanted to do, though, I have a typical question I ask everybody that hops in the back seat, and I know you have your book that we want to talk about, and I also want to maybe say a few words about Bill Armstrong. I didn't get a chance to know him personally, but I've felt his presence in a lot of stuff that we do here in Colorado, so I wanted to talk about that. But I have a question that I like to ask everybody, and that is, if you were king for a day and didn't have to do all the red tape and ask people for permission, what would be maybe one thing that you'd like to just have happen that you don't have to ask people for, just to put in place for a better world, a better Colorado? What would that be?
Casper, you and I are blessed to be inheritors of a miracle as Americans in the 3rd century of this amazing country.
Yes.
Just celebrated Independence Day, the 4th of July. America turned 240 years old.
Yes.
Most great nations decline in their 3rd century. America is in the kill zone according to historic actuarial charts.
I feel that.
If I was king for a day, I would want to stir up the media, the schools, the Hollywood entertainment industry, families, churches, and yes, our political system to be rededicated to the simple but powerful founding principles of this country in our Declaration of Independence, and then placed in a government structure through our Constitution. All men and women created equal in God's sight,
Right.
endowed by their Creator, not by their government, with certain inalienable rights, and among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The governments exist by the consent of the governed,
Right.
not by any other authority, not by the government itself telling you what it should do,
Right.
and only to protect our rights, to let us be free men and women in this blessed America of ours. We can't lose America. That's why we need people like yourself in public office. That's why it was my honor to serve in public office and then to work at Colorado Christian University, doing public policy with with an event like the Western Conservative Summit. You've been part of that for several years now.
Yes.
Helping get the message out that a colorblind America, a truly just America, a grassroots, self-governing America with limitations on the power of the central government is the future for everybody. It's a better life for Denver. It's a better life for folks that may be watching this that feel like the system has shortchanged them,
Right.
Economically or racially or religiously. We got to get that message out, and thank you for running for Congress to help get that message out. We got to get you back to the U.S. House of Representatives.
So it sounds like to me that if you were king for today, you would have America actually honor the Constitution that we're supposed to be following now.
That's not asking a lot, is it?
That's not asking a lot.
Then I'd fire myself as king, because we're not about kings.
We don't
fired the king
Exactly.
on the 4th of July, 1776.
Exactly. But I mean, politicians take an oath to honor the Constitution, and they do the exact opposite of what they took the oath to do.
So government grows, taxation becomes more burdensome, regulation gets in the way of small business.
Yeah.
Folks that are using ride-share apps like yourself to provide a public service and who provide a living for themselves and their family, find government getting in the way. I heard about Austin, Texas the other day. The people of Austin said, we're going to burden Lyft and Uber with such heavy regulations that those ride-share companies just went on down the road.
Right.
So the community is worse off. The dishonoring of the Constitution, the unlimited growth of government and spending and taxes, regulation, and intrusion upon our freedoms, and setting people against each other, racially or religiously. What a tragedy. We got to turn this around.
So tell me about Bill Armstrong. I know he passed away a few days ago. He was a mentor of yours, I believe, and I didn't know him personally, but I know a lot of people, and I can feel the effects of some of the stuff that he's done for our state and for our country.
Well, like you, William Armstrong was a small businessman.
Okay.
Raising a family and making his way in the world. Somebody said to him, there's an incumbent Democrat that is not doing a happened to be not U.S. House like you're running, but Colorado House of Representatives. It was 1962.
Wow.
He was in Aurora. He took out an incumbent Democrat and became a state representative. 2 years later, there was an incumbent Democrat state senator. People said, this guy is not doing a good job for our community. He took that person out. You need to have that Bill Armstrong inspiration. It can be done.
Yeah, yeah.
He goes on to become a congressman and then a U.S. senator for 2 terms, and then a very successful business leader, a spiritual leader for the Christian faith that was very dear to him as it is to you and me, Casper, and ultimately the president of Colorado Christian University for the last 10 years.
Wow.
As high as his achievement was, he never stopped being approachable, a man with a wonderful sense of humor, terrific personal warmth. He had time for everybody. I watched him on that CCU campus. He had time for the lowliest freshman or the most exalted faculty member or well-to-do donor that was coming to talk about building a new building for the college. A great gift of caring about people. What a counterexample to the myth that if you're a Republican and a conservative and advocate of constitutional limited government, you don't care about people.
Right.
That's the ultimate caring for people, because that system is the ultimate opportunity for people.
Yeah.
And Bill Armstrong lived that. So when we lost him the other day, the day after the 4th of July, rather fittingly, age 79, after a long, valiant battle with cancer, left a big void in my life. But how blessed I feel to have worked with him. And my personal vow, I think a lot of us who loved and admired Senator Armstrong would make this vow. We're going to honor his legacy by living up to his example, which means constitutional limited government, and America understood as a nation under God. And every single human being, high and low, whatever their color, whatever their background, whatever their economic status, to be honored and respected as a child of God. That's the Bill Armstrong legacy.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I'm doing as part of my campaign, and also as a sitting congressperson, and even if I'm not elected, I'm still going to continue it, and that is to get the Constitution in the hands of as many black and brown people as possible. And the reason why I'm focusing on black and brown people is because in the black and brown community, they don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe it was written for them, or it was written by some old white guys a long time ago. It's not relevant for today. And this is the progressive message. So my message is that that's the rule book for America.
That's the operating system for America's greatness and for individual opportunity.
Exactly.
And it is written specifically to let people rise.
Right.
The right to rise.
Right, right. And when you know the operating system, when you know the rules, when you know the rules of the game, you can win. It's easier to win. If you know your rights, when I'm stopped by a cop, I don't run from cops. When I'm stopped by a cop, he better have a good reason why he stopped me. And if he's going to arrest me, I'm not going to resist. I'm going to say, okay, let's go. Because I'm calling my lawyer, and I'm calling my congressman person, and I'm calling the news. We're going to get this figured out one way or the other. But I'm not going to be shot on the side of the road trying to resist arrest from, maybe he's doing his job properly, maybe he's not, but I'm not going to wind up on the side of the road from it. I'm going to go downtown.
Thank you for carrying that message. America sure needs that right now.
That's what needs to happen. So, before we leave, let's talk about your book a little bit. I want to actually get a copy of it. So what's the title of your book?
I'd love to sign one for you this morning. The book is called Backbone, Colorado, USA, Dispatches from the Divide.
Backbone, Colorado, USA. Hopefully you can see that on the camera.
And Casper, what I've done is collect about 100 short essays that talk about the very topics you and I have been kicking around just now.
Okay.
Liberty, limited government, economic freedom, the equality of every man and woman in the eyes of God and the eyes of the law, and America strong in its defenses, America vigilant against radical Islam that wishes to conquer and destroy this country, America as a beacon of hope and freedom for the world. In my book, Backbone, Colorado, it suggests a little imaginary town up on the Continental Divide where I grew up. But Backbone really is talking about what is our individual character. Have we got the spine to stand up when things are tough? Just like you described, respectful but firm stand you would take in a tense encounter with law enforcement.
Right.
Have we got the backbone as individuals and ultimately as a self-governing free society to reclaim the spine of our Constitution to be limited.
Right.
That economic rights and economic freedom and personal freedom and religious freedom and freedom of speech and freedom of assembly,
Right.
even the protesters of a movement
Sure.
that I happen to think is not quite on target, the Black Lives Matter movement.
Sure, sure.
Everybody's freedom of assembly is guaranteed peaceably.
Peaceably. That's the
all
key.
This,
That's
all
the
this
key.
is what I see as the backbone of America. As I study history, great nations start to go spineless, and then they go lifeless. We don't want that to happen to America, but it will, except people like you and me and the folks that you're contacting in your congressional campaign rise up and work together to save and renew this country. And that's what my book, Backbone Colorado, is about. It is sort of a handbook on all the issues that you can think of.
Yes.
Taxes and spending and education and healthcare and environment, energy and national defense and the threat of radical Islam, police issues, immigration issues, terrorism, across the board.
Yeah, you name it.
The issues that figure into this year's presidential campaign, Trump versus Clinton, and the issues that figure into your congressional campaign, Stockham versus DeGette.
Right, right.
So I hope that folks would take a look at Amazon and look up that book. It's easy to remember and find under my title, Backbone, Colorado, USA. I just like to ask people, how's your backbone? And I start with the guy that I see in the mirror every morning. Hey, Andrews, how's your backbone?
How's your backbone? I like it. I like it a lot. Hey, John, thank you so much for joining us in Casper's Backseat. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I've known you for quite a while now, and you've helped me with the campaign. I appreciate that. And, man, it's just great to chat with you.
Well, you inspire me. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank
It's
you.
a tough road, and let's hope it's a road to victory.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad to be on your team. And as I said, I'm comfortable in your backseat. Lots of your neighbors in Denver could be comfortable if you were in the congressional driver's seat. I'm going to put you there.
Appreciate it. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. All right. There you go, folks. We'll talk to you later.